They say secrets always crawl into the open one way or another. And this time? Oh, darling, it isn't just whispers from some random tabloid trying to stir trouble. No, no, this storm has a voice, and that voice belongs to none other than Candace Owens. Fierce, fiery, unfiltered, Candace doesn't tiptoe. She slams down the truth and dares the world to look away. And this time, her spotlight falls directly on Meghan Markle. Forget the polished speeches, the glossy magazine covers, the oh-so-perfect Duchess role that Buckingham Palace tried to shove down our throats. Candace is tearing that mask apart and dragging us back, way back, to Meghan's Soho House days. And trust me, once you hear this version of events, you'll never see Meghan the same again. Because let's be clear, according to Candace, Meghan wasn't just sipping cocktails and rubbing shoulders with A-list celebrities. She was scheming, strategizing, and playing the long game like a master chess player. Soho House wasn't just a lounge, it was her office, her stage, her training ground. But wait, this story doesn't even start at Soho House. Oh no, sugar. To understand Meghan, you have to rewind. You have to look at Trevor Engelson, the Hollywood producer who thought he was marrying a sweet, free-spirited actress. Poor Trevor, he thought he was in for a fairy tale romance. Instead, he got front row seats to Meghan's first act as the woman who could control any room she walked into. And the receipts? Let's talk about Jamaica, 2011, their wedding. Guests flew down expecting a dreamy beachside love fest. Vows at sunset, cocktails on the sand, maybe a little dancing barefoot under the stars. That's the kind of memory you expect from a wedding, right? But what do people still gossip about to this very day? Not the vows, not the cake, not even the love story. No, what stuck was Meghan sitting there rolling joints. Not 1, not 5, not 10, over 100 joints, like she was running a factory line, hand rolling them, calm and collected, while her wedding guests cheered and laughed. At the time, everyone thought it was hilarious. Oh, Meghan's such a fun bride, so laid back, so cool. But now when you look back through the lens of everything else, oh honey, it doesn't feel like a carefree moment anymore. It feels like a preview, a little glimpse into Meghan's real gift. The ability to curate the vibe of a room, to set the atmosphere, to make people feel like the night could last forever. That wasn't just a bride blowing off steam, that was Meghan already rehearsing for the role she'd play for years. Supplier, director, manipulator of mood. Fast forward 5 years. Meghan's in Toronto, filming Suits, and, oh yes, quietly dating none other than Prince Harry. On the surface, it looked like a fairy tale, a secret romance, another Hollywood meets royalty love story. But the whispers? Oh, they tell a much darker tale. According to people close to Trevor, Meghan wasn't just entertaining Harry with Netflix and wine nights. She was organizing what Toronto nightlife insiders whispered about as a run. And let me tell you, a run wasn't dinner. It wasn't drinks. It wasn't about candlelight and roses. It was indulgence, substances carefully arranged, delivered behind closed doors, and provided to the right people at exactly the right time. And here's where jaws hit the floor. The name that popped up in these whispers? Princess Eugenie. Yes, Harry's cousin. Now, was she directly involved? Did she even know? Nobody knows for sure. But even the mere suggestion of her name linked to that night was explosive enough to send chills through the palace walls. Think about it. One photo, one headline, one leak from that night, and Meghan and Harry's romance would have been over before it even began. Worse, it could have dragged the entire royal family into a humiliating scandal. And the whispers say it almost happened. Something went sideways. A close call. A brush with exposure. The kind of moment where one wrong move could have sent the whole thing spiraling. But somehow, miraculously, there were no police reports, no screaming tabloid headlines, no photos splashed across the front pages. Nothing. Just silence. And darling, silence at that level? It never happens by accident. People pull strings. People spend money. People use power. And right at the center of it all? Meghan Markle. Calm, composed, and, according to insiders, shockingly skilled at one thing: keeping the night alive and keeping it quiet. By 2016, Meghan had already proven 2 roles she could play better than anyone. 1, the supplier, the woman who could make indulgence happen. 2, the strategist, the woman who could bury the evidence when things went too far. And once you connect those dots, from Jamaica to Toronto, you start to understand exactly what she found inside Soho House. Now let's talk about Soho House. On the surface, it was just a swanky private club. Celebrities, executives, jet-setters to sip cocktails under low lights and gossip without the paparazzi barging in. But in reality, for Meghan, it was everything. Soho House wasn't a hangout. It was her career hub, the place where deals were whispered, alliances were built, and reputations were polished in shadows, not in boardrooms. And Meghan wasn't just another pretty face hanging at the bar. Oh no, she had a role. She was the connector. According to those who knew her then, she was the girl who always knew what you needed and how to get it. Fast, quietly, no questions asked. Access was her currency. And in a place like Soho House, that kind of skill wasn't just impressive, it was priceless. Think about it. When the music died down and the champagne glasses emptied, Meghan still had fuel. When someone wanted something they couldn't dare ask for openly, Meghan knew exactly who to call. She wasn't remembered as fun, she was remembered as essential. Now picture this: Prince Harry, a man already branded as the party prince, the royal screw-up, the guy caught in Vegas with no clothes and way too much champagne. His image? Fragile. His reputation? Shaky. His relationship with the press? A disaster. Did he need someone to tame him? That wasn't what Harry was looking for. What he needed was someone who could keep up, someone who could play in the shadows with him and not drag him into the light. That's where Meghan stepped in. She didn't scold him, she didn't shame him, she didn't even try to change him. She offered him something he craved more than any drug, more than any wild night: secrecy. Inside Meghan's world, Harry could indulge, he could misbehave, he could live dangerously, and none of it would ever leak. Not a whisper. Meghan wasn't just his girlfriend, she was his handler, his strategist. The woman who could spin chaos into silence and scandal into invisibility. Some even claim Soho House acted like an initiation zone, a gatekeeper's playground where reputation, money, and influence melted together into something more sinister. And Meghan? She wasn't just tagging along, she was absorbing every trick, adapting, molding herself into the one woman who could step into any room and make herself indispensable. So by the time Prince Harry stumbled into her orbit, Meghan wasn't just the actress from Suits. She had already mastered the art of being essential. She knew how to create indulgence, erase evidence, and weaponize silence. That's not luck, that's strategy. And darling, every legend leaves a trail. In Meghan's case, her face told part of that story. Look back at her early Hollywood days: rounder features, softer edges, a nose that mirrored her mother's, wide and natural. But as her profile rose, the changes became undeniable. Sharper angles, a narrower nose, reshaped nostrils. The official line? Cosmetic polish, the kind of Hollywood tweaks everyone does. But whispers from Toronto tell a more shocking tale. They say it wasn't about vanity, it was about survival. Why? Because Meghan's lifestyle wasn't exactly angelic. Too many late nights, too much indulgence. And yes, the heavy rumors of cocaine. Years of excess can leave its mark. Cartilage damage, collapse, the kind of scars that no duchess-to-be could afford to carry into the palace. So each surgery, each tweak wasn't just cosmetic, it was cover-up. Each procedure wasn't a makeover, it was a burial. One more version of Meghan erased, one more past life sealed off. And Meghan didn't stop with her face. She erased people too. The Toronto party friends? Gone. College pals? Replaced. Even family members who knew her before? Cut off clean, no bridges left. This wasn't the playful reinvention of an ambitious woman. It was systematic. Build, erase, rebuild, erase. Every time Meghan stepped into a new world, she torched the path behind her. Nobody from her past was allowed to follow. Trevor Engelson knew this better than anyone. He wasn't just an ex-husband, he was a witness. He had seen her curating nights, running atmospheres, managing indulgence. And so, when the divorce came, he wasn't simply left behind. He was erased, wiped from her narrative like he'd never existed. This, according to Candace Owens, is Meghan's ultimate weapon: control of access. By silencing the past, she guaranteed the present would always be told her way. The narrative, hers, the truth, buried, and yet cracks still appeared. Meghan painted herself as trapped inside the UK, suffocated by palace life. But the records? Oh, they tell another story entirely. Trips to Italy, Amsterdam, New York, always moving, always with elite company. Not budget airlines, not public airports, no. These were private jets, quiet lounges, discreet exits, movement as power. Meghan was never trapped, she was untouchable. She could vanish from one circle, reappear in another, and leave no trace behind. For Meghan, travel wasn't luxury, it was strategy, it was access. Another way to stay ahead of the story, always one step beyond the whispers. And then came the royal spotlight. The palace had the chance to sculpt Meghan's story for the world. At first, they went big. A double major at university, fluent in multiple languages, decorated humanitarian. A Cinderella story for the modern age. But slowly, suspiciously, those details began to vanish. Her royal biography was stripped down. No more double major, no more fluency, no more glittering achievements. In the end, what remained was starkly simple. Meghan Markle, actress from Suits. Now let's pause. The palace doesn't make sloppy mistakes. Every word in those biographies is deliberate. So why erase the shine? Why cut away the achievements? Candace Owens and others say it was damage control, a quiet distancing, a way for the palace to scrub away contradictions before the press dug deeper. They couldn't afford a ticking time bomb of lies and whispers attached to the Duchess of Sussex. And that's where Candace drops the mic. Because Meghan Markle's life story, when you strip away the glitz, isn't about what she's revealed. It's about what she's buried. From the Jamaican wedding to the Toronto run, from Soho House connections to her ever-changing face, from erased friends to rewritten resumes. Every step wasn't fate, it wasn't fairy tale, it was strategy. A woman who learned early how to control narratives, bury inconvenient truths, and smile while the shadows told a different story. Candace Owens has ripped the curtain wide open, but her final, chilling question lingers. If this is what Meghan has buried already, what else still lurks in the dark? Because Meghan Markle, the Duchess the world thought it knew, may only be one more mask. And the real Meghan, the strategist, the supplier, the handler, still lingers just out of sight, watching, waiting, and always in control.